So does that mean John would be Cindy and from where he's at? So
Well, maybe Sydney needs a little bit of electrolysis.
you never know how they grew up. You know, they were kids back then.
Yeah.
It has been years.
She actually teaches acting classes here in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
I like that cup.
Okay, it looks like it's 9 o'clock.
Yes, I'm getting ready. Does anybody have an American flag that they could throw up there?
Ooh, I like his bulletin board. Ooh, I better mute myself.
How's that?
We won't use the flag. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the educational program of District 115. I'd like to ask for those people who are able, thank you, John, to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, Gene. Okay, I'd like to, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Lori McCormick. Lori is a member of two clubs, Library 2.2 and Beyond, and Z Toasters. She's currently working on our third pathway. She also has two teenagers at home who barely tolerate her presence. That gives her more time for Toastmasters. Toastmasters, forgive me. In addition to working full-time, she's coaching one club, mentoring one club, and sponsoring a third club. So most nights you will find her in one Zoom chat or another. Please help me welcome. Lori, are you DTM? I'm sorry.
Not yet.
Soon to be to DTM.
Very soon.
Lori McCormick.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you, Todd, for that introduction. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Today, we're talking about pathways. I don't know about you guys, but I am a visual learner, and therefore I've prepared a ton of slides. John Whalen is going to be my chat master, so if you place your questions in the chat box, we can answer them at the end. Toastmasters Pathways, a path to possibilities. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." It's often contributed to Confucius. This is one of the most often misquoted proverbs. What the translation really says is a journey of 1,000 miles starts beneath one's feet, and it's by Lao Tzu. Your journey has already begun before you've even taken that first step. The choice is right there at your feet. Now it's up to you to decide where you want to go. Choose what works for you. With Toastmasters Pathways program, it lets you decide whether you want to be a better team leader, a professional speaker, an internet sensation, or just to insert a little humor into your everyday life. With Pathways, the choice is in your hands. You choose your pathway. You choose the electives that you work on within that pathway. You choose the skills that you build. It's all your. Like anything worth doing, you're not going to see results right away. But with regular workouts and practice, and with the help of your club members, you will see progress. Each pathway works on a different set of skills, but all of them work on the Toastmasters 5 core competencies, which are public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, management, and confidence. Dynamic leadership. This path helps you build your skills as a strategic leader and negotiator. You will work through projects that focus on understanding leadership and communication styles, the effect of conflict on a group, and the skills needed to diffuse and direct conflicts. Each project also emphasizes the development of strategies to facilitate change within an organization or group, interpersonal communication, and public speaking. The dynamic leadership path culminates in a project focused on applying your leadership skills. Effective coaching. This path helps you build your skills as a positive communicator, leader, and coach. You will work through projects that focus on understanding and building consensus, contributing to the development of others by coaching, and establishing strong public speaking skills. Each project emphasizes the importance of effective interpersonal communication. The effective coaching path will culminate in a high-performance leadership project of your design. What do they say? Make them laugh, make them cry, 5 to 7, say goodbye. The engaging humor pathway will have you keep a humorous story journal, and then it teaches you how to insert those stories into your speeches for the best possible effect. You will build the skills to make you a more engaging speaker. Let's be honest, no one wants to be interrupted partway through a presentation by snoring in the back row. And yes, Gene Williams, I'm talking to you. You might want to wake up. Innovative planning. This path helps you build your skills as a public speaker, leader, and project manager. Your projects will focus on creating innovative solutions and building public speaking skills. These skills include developing strong audience awareness and connections, speech writing, and delivery. Each project contributes to building an understanding of the steps needed to manage a project. The innovative planning path culminates in a high-performance leadership project of your design. Leadership development. This path helps you build your skills as an effective communicator and leader. You will work through projects that focus on learning how to develop and implement a plan, as well as time management. Each project emphasizes public speaking and team leadership skills. The leadership development path culminates in the planning and execution of an event that will allow you to apply everything that you've learned in your path. With motivational strategies, it will help you build your skills as a powerful and effective communicator. You will learn about emotional intelligence and what it means for you and your team. You will work through projects that focus on how to build connections with others, understand the principles of motivation, and successfully lead small group projects to accomplish this task. The motivational strategies path culminates in a comprehensive team building project that builds all of your skills and brings them together, including public speaking. Persuasive influence. Do you want to get your team on the same page? Would you like that to be your page? This path helps you build your skills as a persuasive communicator and leader. You will work through projects that focus on how to negotiate a positive outcome while building strong interpersonal communication and public speaking skills. Each project emphasizes the development of leadership skills for complex situations and how to create innovative solutions to solve your challenges. The persuasive influence path also culminates in a high-performance leadership project of your design. Presentation mastery. Are you a blogger? Do you tweet? Do you want to be the next YouTube sensation? Or is your personal goal to be a motivational speaker? Presentation mastery is going to help you build your skills as an accomplished public speaker and presenter. You'll work through projects that focus on learning how to gauge audience response and to improve your connection with audience members. Each project contributes to developing an understanding of effective public speaking technique, including speaking and speech delivery and writing. This path culminates in an extended speech where you will apply what you have learned. Strategic relationships. This path helps you build your skills as a leader in communication. You will work through projects that focus on understanding diversity, building personal and professional connections with a variety of people, and how to develop a public relations strategy and how to best sell yourself. Each project emphasizes interpersonal communications and public speaking. The strategic relationships path culminates in a project where you will apply all your skills as a leader in a volunteer organization. Team collaboration. Everyone has been part of a team that just didn't mesh. This path helps you build your skills as a collaborative team leader. You will work through projects that focus on active listening, motivating others, and collaborating with a team. Each project contributes to building interpersonal communication and public speaking skills. The team collaboration path culminates in a project focused on applying your leadership skills. Visionary communication. This path helps you build your skills as a strategic communicator and leader. You will work through projects that focus on developing your skills for sharing information with the group, planning communications, and creating innovative solutions. Each project emphasizes speech writing and delivery. The visionary communications path will culminate in the development and launch of a long-term personal and professional goal. The choice is yours. No matter which pathway you choose, the skills that you learn are going to help you in every part of your life, whether in your club, at work, or at home. Who wouldn't benefit from better communication skills? With a little work on your part and the support and feedback from your fellow club members, the possibilities are endless. But which pathway is right for you? If you're not sure where you want to start, the Toastmasters International website can help with some guidance. Who here has had a chance to log on to the Toastmasters International website recently? If you haven't done it recently, there's been a new development that's really exciting, at least for me. You can now access your pathway not only from your home computer, which we always could, but now you could also access it from your tablet and from your smartphone. There's no excuse anymore. You always have one of these things with you. For those of you who have not visited the site yet, the address is www.toastmasters.org. And this is what it looks like. At the top of the page near the center, you're going to find a login button. We're going to want to click on that. When you log in, the member ID is the email address that you used when you joined Toastmasters. The password you chose goes right below here. If you cannot remember your password, or if this is your first time visiting the website, you haven't set a password yet. Then you're going to want to click on the Forgot Password button down here, and it will open up this page. When you enter your email address up here and hit Submit, it's going to send a link out to the email address that you listed here. I know it sounds silly, but make sure that you have access to that email address. It's going to be where that link to reset your email password or link your password goes. Many a corporate club member have tried to log in for the first time from home, only realized they used their work email address to set up their account, and they can't access that from home, only from work. So make sure you have access to the email address that you joined Toastmasters with when you first set up your account. Once you've set your password, you will not need to access that email address to log in. You're only going to need to remember what email you used. The message on the bottom of the screen is going to change. And now it's going to say, we have sent a password reset email to your email here. It may take a few minutes to arrive. Once you log into your email, you can follow the link and create the password of your dreams. You just want to be careful and watch out for those nightmare passwords, like the super secure ones your device is going to try and set for you. Yeah, don't use that. This password might look ultra secure, but let's be honest, no one is going to try and hack your Toastmasters account. And if you use more than one device, you're going to have to remember this password across your devices. That wouldn't happen for me. And so I picked something I could remember so that I can get into all my devices. After you've logged in, most devices will remember your password, but that first time logging in is a bugger if you picked a password that looks like this one. Once you log in, the screen should now have your name at the top of it here. This area works as a quick shortcut to get to the Pathways startup page. There are other places on the site to access it, but this is the easiest. I'm all for easy, so let's click on the name. This is where you will choose your pathway. Whether you're choosing your first path or your fifth path, this is where you're going to go. You will need to finish 2 different pathways to earn your Distinguished Toastmaster. Let's start with the first pathway. If you've already chosen your pathway, feel free to grab a drink, go to the bathroom. This part is for the absolute beginners, but we all had to start somewhere, right? In the middle of the screen is a button that reads, Choose Your Path. We're going to click on that. You will notice that there are 2 different ways to receive the materials for your learning program. You can choose either the digital version or the printed materials. If you are really attached to having that manual to thumb through, you can pay $25 extra to Toastmasters International, and they will send you an actual manual. But keep in mind, there are only 5 pathways available in the printed version, as opposed to the 11 that are available in the digital format. So you're going to restrict your choices. And the instructional videos that are a big part of this training are only available as part of the digital resource. I personally print the projects as I go, only printing the parts that I really need. If your club uses their free Host website for your agendas, you don't even need to print your evaluation form. When you sign up for your speech on the website, you could actually pick your project from the dropdown. And then when your evaluator goes on, he can see what your project is and he can print your evaluation right there from free Toast hosts. Then when they're done, they can email you the evaluation. They can snap a picture with your phone from their phone and they can text it to you. You can print it if you want to. You can load it into your Toastmasters folder, but all that stuff is a lesson for another time. Just keep in mind, you don't actually need to print those if you're meeting online. My favorite part of the digital resource is that it is literally available from anywhere. If you've got an internet connection, you've got access. You have a few minutes when you're waiting in the doctor's office, you can actually go on your phone to the website and work through part of your program. We always have our phones with us, so there's no excuse not to be learning stuff. I'm going to click on the Select Digital Resources tab, then down here to Take Assessment, then at the very bottom, the Continue button. This is going to bring us to the online assessment quiz. This quiz is available in other languages, but as I am barely fluent in English some days, I'm going to stick with the default language. The assessment quiz will lead you through a bunch of questions in order to help the program narrow down your choices. It is time to start the assessment. Select 3 topics that you are interested in learning about from the list below. I'm going to go with coaching, time management, and motivating others. Here is where you will pick what you are most interested in learning about or what skills you want to develop during your Toastmasters experience. Here's that choice thing again. After you've chosen your 3 topics, click on the next button at the bottom to continue the assessments. Which of the following topics is most related to the personal and professional goals that brought you to Toastmasters? Here's where you start narrowing down those choices. I have ADD, so time management is a huge concern of mine. On more than one occasion, I've started out to do something, I get into the yard and I get distracted by the leaves floating through the sky. And I'll spend 15 minutes just kind of chasing them and catching them. So I am definitely picking time management for me. Learning about blank will help me significantly in my personal and/or professional life. I'm going to go with time management again. Oh, wait. I think there's a theme going on here. I am reluctant to adopt new ways of doing things until I see them working for the people around me. Now, this question always reminds me of a scene from the movie Smurfs. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but when Gargamel, our evildoer, has to go through the portal to get to Earth, first thing he does is he picks up his cat and he tosses him through the portal. And then you hear a voice off screen that says, Adriel, are you dead? The cat doesn't die, then it's safe to continue. Is this you? It is most definitely not me. So I'm going to click that I disagree with this one. But there's no shame in waiting until somebody else has done it first to see if maybe it's safe, especially if you're going through a portal to a different world. I feel relaxed while giving a speech. This one is tough. I know many performers who still get butterflies in their stomach every time they go out on stage. The trick is to be prepared and to know your stuff. Not let the butterflies stop you, but to let the butterflies carry you onto the stage and give you energy while you're there. So I'm fairly relaxed doing this. I could be more relaxed, which is why I don't strongly agree, but I'm fairly relaxed when I'm doing this now. It's been a few years. I think you guys get the process here. The assessment takes about 5 minutes to complete. When you're finished, Toastmasters International is going to recommend 3 different pathways that, based on your answers, will help you best reach your goals. You're still free to pick any pathway you want. This recommendation is just a starting point if you're not sure where you want to focus first. In my case, it recommended leadership and development, innovative planning, and strategic relationships. I've already done innovative planning, so I'm not going to do that one again. You might see a path that you've already completed if you're picking a second path, but you can still pick any path that you want. Now, an insider's guide and a tip to keep in mind when choosing your pathway. The most difficult and rewarding project that you're going to work on is going to be your high performance leadership project. This requires you to pick a project that will benefit your community, organize a team, set a timeline, delegate assignments, follow up with your team members, and after you've brought the project to a successful end, meet with those team members to learn what worked and what didn't. It's a great opportunity for growth, but if you've already done this a couple of times, you might want to be careful when you pick your next pathway. While any pathway can choose to do this as an elective, it is a required project for 3 paths: effective coaching, innovative planning, and persuasive influence. Now to pick my next path. Even though the assessment recommended differently, after preparing for this presentation, my next pathway is going to be presentation mastery. I mean, I did just teach myself PowerPoint, so yay me, but I know there's a long way to go before I'm truly comfortable doing presentations. After you select your pathway, scroll down to the bottom of the screen for the continue button. Now it's going to ask you to confirm your selection. Insert drum roll here. Ta-da! This is the order page. Most of the information is going to fill itself in based on what you have in your Toastmasters profile. It does list a shipping address, even though nothing is going to be sent to your house. This is the order page. Oh, what? Payment method. Now, don't get too excited. I may have been born during the day, but it wasn't yesterday. No one's going to get my credit card information from this presentation. You'll fill out your credit card information, the expiration date, and your security code. I did redact my address and my phone number, but then I realized it's on all different pages. So if somebody really wants it, they can show up at my house for Toastmasters in the kitchen and they can have some food. Now you get to review your order. Make sure that the email address is correct. They're going to send you a confirmation email to let you know that your purchase was successful. I know a few people who've gone through and clicked that place your order button twice, and then they have 2 copies of the same pathway. Now you can't get a refund, but they will let you choose a different pathway in exchange for the one that you picked twice if you catch it within 30 days. So make sure you check your email and the confirmation went through for 1 copy of that pathway, not 2 or 3. Now for the death spiral of doom. We appreciate your patience as your order is processed. This usually only takes maybe 30 seconds, but if you're doing this at the end of the month when everybody is trying to turn in their reports, it might take a little longer. So just be patient and soon you'll have this screen in front of you. Here is your receipt. You're almost ready to begin your pathway. If this is your first pathway, there is no charge. Usually it is $20 extra for each additional pathway that you choose to work on. But exciting news from International, they just announced that if you renew your membership before December 31st of this year, you will get a second pathway for free. So go on there and pick that second pathway. You'll have until the end of March to pick the second pathway, but you have to renew an existing membership before December 31st. If you're proceeding directly to your pathway at this time, you can click on the Return to Pathway Startup page, and it'll bring you right to that page that we started the assessment from. But most people are a little overwhelmed at this point. They've been on the website for about 20 minutes. They're starting to pull their hair out. Their eyes are glazing over. They need a nap. So most people are going to access their pathways from this page. Here's that handy dandy shortcut where we logged in, and there's the name. There are other ways to get to the pathway startup page from here, but clicking on your name really is the easiest way to do this. So I'm going to click on my name. This is the pathway startup page. There's a lot of information hidden here, but you're only going to need to know a few things to start out. You will notice that it now says I'm enrolled in 3 paths, whereas if you were paying attention before, it said I was enrolled in 2 paths. This box over here on the upper left only shows up if you are a base camp manager for your club. That means president, vice president of education, or secretary. This will allow them to see what the club members are up to and to approve their educational achievements. This is also a class for a different time, but just don't freak out if you look at your screen and that box isn't there. This box tells you what club I'm currently logged into. Many Toastmasters belong to more than one club. If you want your points for your educational achievements to go toward a particular club's distinguished club program, you need to make sure that you are logged in under that club here. Because if you're logged into the other club, your name doesn't even exist. So right now I'm logged into Library 2.0. If someone from Zappos goes in, it doesn't even list me as a member. So you want to make sure that you're logged into the club that you want to get your DCP points. I'm going to click on the Go button to access my path. Dun, 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 we're getting closer. If I click here, it's going to bring up all the training that I'm currently working on. My distinguished Toastmaster, my mentoring, everything. I don't want everything. I just want to look at my pathway. Just don't give me anything else. Just give me the pathway. So when I scroll down a little bit lower, here are my paths and learning programs. You will notice it only lists 2 because I've already finished my innovative planning path. So that's been moved to my archives folder. I'm going to start on my new pathway, which is presentation mastery. So I'm going to click here on open curriculum. Ooh, here we go. This is my new pathway. Each pathway is going to have 5 different levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you'll list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. You can access the different levels by either hitting the View Detail button on the right or the actual level button on the left. And one of the great things that they changed with Toastmasters is you can now click on any level that you want to. You don't have to actually work in order. For level 1, every pathway starts with the same 3 projects. You've got the icebreaker, which is a 4 to 6 minute speech all about you. We've got evaluation feedback, and we've got researching and presenting. For that icebreaker, it can be about your life. It can be about a particular event in your life. It can be why you joined Toastmasters, or it can just be how my last week went. The goal is to introduce you to the members of your club and to get you comfortable presenting in front of a group. Even if you've already given an icebreaker, the people in the room are going to be different than the ones that were there when you gave your first icebreaker. And let's be clear, I'm sure your life has changed. So it's not bad to give more than one icebreaker, and every pathway will require you to give a brand new icebreaker. If you hit the activate button here, it's going to change and it's going to turn into a launch button. Everything else stays the same, the name of the button changes. But once you hit the launch button, it's going to take you to the actual tutorial. When you open your project, there's an easy way to move from one section to another. In the middle of the screen, on the bottom, is a little arrow that brings up all the different areas of the training. If you click on the button, you're going to see this menu. If you click on the various subjects, it'll skip to that chapter of the training. This allows you to work through part of the training and then come back later for the next chapter without having to scroll through all the previous chapters to get where you left off. With the assess your skills before, this gives you a snapshot of your knowledge on that project before you go through the training. Kind of gives you a starting point. After you've given your speech and you've finished your project, the assess your skills after button down below lets you see how much you've learned because it compares the 2 scores. It also lets the Pathways program know that you are finished with your project. Remember to always take that assess your skills after, because they can't approve your progress if they don't know you've made it. When you click on the evaluation tab here, it brings up a screen that looks like this. This is where you're going to find that dreaded print my project button. If you really want that printed project, don't pay Toastmasters International $25 if you don't have to. You can print this from home. You'll have it with you wherever you go. The Icebreaker Speech Outline Worksheet is an invaluable resource for first-time Toastmasters. It will bring you through the basic framework and pointers for your first speech. The evaluation resource button here is where you're going to find the actual evaluation form for your evaluator. If you're meeting in person or as part of a hybrid club, please be considerate and print this up and bring it for your evaluator. This will allow them to give you targeted feedback and suggestions based on the skills that you're currently working on, instead of just a generic evaluation saying, oh, well, she didn't move around much. Oh, you can vary your tone a little bit. This way they can actually tell you what, they can look for what you're working on and give you feedback based on that. As you finish a project within the level, you will see check marks appear next to them. As you finish all the projects on a level, you're going to see the level circle on the left turned into a check mark. As you finish each project, you'll be able to learn and grow. There are 3 parts to the evaluation and feedback part of this project. First, you're going to need to act as an evaluator for a club member, and then someone is going to evaluate your evaluation. You're going to give a speech during the club meeting and receive an evaluation. And finally, you're going to take the suggestions from the evaluation that the person gave to you, and you're either going to redo your existing speech or you're going to do a new speech, integrating the changes and the suggestions from that evaluation. And then you get to present a second improved speech to the club. You can do the evaluation section of this anytime. It doesn't have to be in order, but you do have to give the first speech before you give the second speech. With researching and presenting, the goal is to learn how to research something and how to prepare a well-organized speech and present your findings. You can research any topic. We had someone who 3 years ago researched germs, and now we're kind of glad he did because everything that's going on. The goal is to pick something you're not already an expert in, because if you're already an expert in the field, you don't need to research that, and you're not going to really learn anything. You want to learn something from this project. Once you've finished all 3 of the projects, you're going to see a little button miraculously appear right here for your level completion. It's going to say activate. Once you click on the activate button, it's going to turn into a launch button. Then when you hit the launch button, you're going to get this screen. And it's going to tell you basically that once you close this screen and hit the Mark Complete button, it's going to let the Vice President of Education know to approve the level. It gives you the basic instructions, but really all you have to do is just close out of this, and then ta-da! That launch button is now a Mark Complete button. Click on that and the email will go out to your Vice President of Education to approve your Pathways progress. Activate, launch, Mark Complete. 3 buttons, same spot on the screen. They're not going to be told that you're ready to pass off that level until you do this. So make sure you click all 3 of the buttons through. Many people will hit the first button and think, oh, I'm done. And then they'll leave. And then they want to know, why am I not a EH1? I've already finished level 1. Well, you didn't hit the button 3 times. Ta-da! Then you get this one over here that has a check mark in it. Yay! 1 more level done. For the second level of your pathway, the first 2 projects vary from path to path, but every path is required to complete the Introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. This project is going to teach you how Toastmasters International views mentoring, and your speech is going to be about a time when you were a protege. You're going to focus on how it felt to be a protege, what you learn from that, and the importance of mentors, not just in Toastmasters, but also in the world in general. For level 3, this is where your choices are really going to start coming in. In addition to your required project, which is different for every pathway, you get to pick 2 electives to work on. Let's take a look at those electives. View details. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff. And if you're on your phone, that is really, really small print. So many choices, but remember, while you can complete as many of them as you like, you are only required to do 2 of them. These projects are very adaptable. When working on understanding vocal variety, you can speak on anything. The goal is just to vary your voice. That means if you're joining Toastmasters in the kitchen, you can do your cooking presentation, but the focus of your speech is going to be on using vocal variety. For active listening, you get to be the table topics master. Anybody here not been that before? I think we've all done that one. But with this one, you're going to show your listening skills by listening to the people's answers and commenting on the responses that are given by the participants. You can choose any of these projects to work on, but they are infinitely adaptable to whatever club you're in. So if you're in authors and aspiring authors, you can speak about your upcoming book, but you can use inspire your audience, so you're trying to inspire the people around you. For the level 4 electives, you only have to pick 1. Tip for the current normal: manage an online meeting is a snap for anyone who is going to be a Zoom Toastmaster for their club. This is a must view just for you to get comfortable and to get pointers on how to do that better. And since you're already going to be running an online meeting, why not get credit in your pathway program? Level 5 is where you get down and dirty. This is where you get to show off the skills that you have developed. Whether you choose to do that high performance leadership project or you want to moderate a panel discussion, this is where you get to shine. Another quick tip, if you're going to be a club officer, view the training for leading in your volunteer organization down here on the bottom. It will help you be a better and more effective leader for your club, but it also gives you your level 5 credit once you've fulfilled your term as the officer. Whatever the path you pick, remember, the choice is yours. Keep in mind that while each path builds upon the skills that you learned in the previous level, you can work out of order. You might just be starting your icebreaker, but if you're also a club officer, there is nothing to stop you from starting the leading in your volunteer organization project for your pathway at the same time. You cannot get credit for finishing your level 2 before you finished your level 1, but there's nothing to stop you from starting it and working on more than one thing at the same time. This is a 2-page handout that I've developed to compare all 11 pathways side by side. You will notice that the yellow projects are the required projects for each individual pathway, whereas the blue are the elective. You'll see some white boxes. That's because on this particular path at that particular area, you cannot do that project. Many times you can't do that project because it's also a required project somewhere else. The required projects work on those fundamentals for the pathway that you chose. The electives are the ones that help you boost your regular skills outside of the actual focus of your pathway. I've also designed a giant poster I use to track my whole club's progress. You'll notice this one has the light yellow and the dark yellow. The dark yellow means there's more than one thing involved in this particular project. So the evaluation feedback is the darker yellow, and it has space for all 3 checks in the dates for all 3 projects. It is 25 inches by 25 inches and it's laminated. We write on it with Sharpie. We can wipe it off if someone decides to leave the club. If you'd like one, it is available as at www.whywouldyoupayforsomething-I-will-give-you-for-free.org. No, really, I'll give it to you for free. If you want both of those formats, just put your email address in the chat and I will get it to you. You can print it out yourself, any size you want. I found 3 pieces of paper by 3 pieces of paper makes a decent sized poster, or even better, you can bring it to Kinko's. They will print it for you and they'll laminate it. Might cost a little bit of money, but it's a lot less work. I would like to thank the following individuals and websites for helping provide information for this presentation. I highly recommend the websites to anyone who wants more information on their chosen path. I found that most information is out there. It's just a question of finding it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel right now when we have the internet. First of all, I'd like to thank our illustrious District 115 Director, Kristen Harrell. I attended one of her Pathways trainings and I have stolen mercilessly from her presentation. I mean, no, I borrowed. Yeah, I didn't steal, I borrowed. The official Toastmasters website, toastmasters.org. There's a lot of information there. Just spend some time looking around and poking when you have the opportunity. And ToastmastersD17.org has done an amazing job of breaking down all the different pathways and listing all of the projects inside each pathway. It's always good to have that information before you commit to a path. At this point, I'm going to open things up and see if anybody has any questions. Oh, nuts.
There was nothing listed in the chat, so.
Woohoo! Jean, yes.
So if you're doing things out of order, do you input something on in Pathways, or do you just keep a note of it for yourself so that when you get to that point you input it then?
Oh, no, you input it right away. You can go through and actually complete the projects. You just can't complete the level until you complete the levels before it. But you can have everything in the level done, except for that final submit. You can't do that final submit until you finish the other levels.
So if you're skipping around, you can kind of like a la carte put stuff in as you do it. And then when
Absolutely.
as you're working through it, filling in the blanks, that's when you're picking the finish the level buttons.
Yes. Once
Oh.
you've finished your first level, if you may already have your second level completely done before you finish your first level. But after you finish that first level, then you can hit submit for the second level as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, fine. You guys got to see my notes box. When I tested it, the notes didn't show up, but I guess they showed up when we ran the real thing. Don't you love technology? Isn't it great? All right. She said she wanted us to end about 9:45. So that's what we've got now. We've got 9:46. You're welcome to come back for the next training if there are no questions.
Is the next training at this link or is it a different link? Or do you know?
I don't know. I think there were separate links for all three trainings.
Okay.
Because there's another training going on at the same time as this one.
Oh, okay.
Yep, different link.
It's a different link.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. And Todd Rush, any parting words as the Toastmaster / Zoom master for this meeting? Okay, we're good. Bye, guys. If you have any